Very much. We've had a lot of feedback over the last several days, just because it's been such a busy time. Tom and I were talking before the show began, just how crazy it must be over at FSU right now, because you have a situation where obviously you're assessing your roster, you're kind of monitoring what's happening with your own players as to the ones that are going to stay, the ones that want to leave, the ones that aren't sure that you have to talk to and really kind of have an honest conversation. I do think it's important to note that's one of the strengths of this staff and Mike Norvell in particular is the honest assessments and the ability to sit down across from kids and say, well, here's what we think you're at. This is what we think you are. This is where we hope you'll go. And then, the kid has to make a decision. Is that what he wanted to hear or not? And I just think that the more that reputation gets out there of this kind of straight to it, man to man conversation about your talents, your skills, and those that you're lacking, the better off you are. I think kids want to know where they stand, and I think we all do at all times. So I think Florida State will be in good shape when it comes to that. They'll lose some kids because of it, but they'll get some kids because of it as well. As far as what we're hearing, I keep seeing and I keep getting asked this question, so I will just throw it out there. Those of you who are planning on going down there to support the team when they take on Georgia in the Orange Bowl, go ahead and make your plans. They're not, I don't think they're going to not play the Orange Bowl game. I've heard so many people say, "Well, are they boycotting?" I'm worried that they're boycotting. No, they're not going to boycott the Orange Bowl. Now, the game isn't going to look the way that I think these two teams on paper. You get an image, you get a mental image of what the game will look like. I kind of don't have any idea really what the game's going to look like because I don't know who's going to play in it for Georgia. And I don't, I already know that there's a bunch of players that aren't going to play in it for Florida State. We already know that. So it's not what the Orange Bowl would have in mind. But the game itself, if you're worried, is it going to be played? Yeah, it's going to be played. I mean, they're going to play. Florida State's not going. I know. I understand. It's in theory, it's fun to say, well, we should just boycott as a means to obviously illustrate our frustrations. But that, I think it's a bad look. It wouldn't do much for you. I think it would hurt you long term, if I'm being honest. I think it would hurt you in the eyes of college football. And I know we don't care what people at ESPN think of us, but I think your overall reputation matters. So I don't think that's going to happen. I would be very, very surprised. But back to what all they're dealing with at this very busy time is, all right, so you'll be gearing up for practices. You get 15 of them, and they're very valuable. You're recruiting your ass off right now, and you're trying to put a ribbon on a top 5 class. You're assessing your roster. You're judging who's coming and who's going, but also the talent that's out there, who's available. And, man, monitoring that alone, I mean, for example, Florida defensive lineman Chris McClellan is in the portal. He's a sophomore, 46 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 seasons with Florida. He was a ESPN 300 kid, top 200 really, 4-star prospect. He announced that he was offered by Florida State immediately on his Twitter account. He's there to tell the world that Florida State has offered. By the way, speaking of Florida, bad news for Gator fans everywhere as Florida running back Trevor Etienne says, "Peace. I am out." Okay. Well, Tom, I'll ask you. Welcome in, brother. How's New York weather treating you right now? You all right? What do we got out there?
We had snow flurries today. It was not on the forecast for snow flurries, but we got some. When I went out to go grab some lunch, I was dodging flakes. That was a interesting experience, given that, even though it was a little cooler in Tallahassee, the last time I saw snow hit the ground was maybe 5-6 years ago. So a couple of days, mission accomplished there. But, I mean, I'm like you. I'm just looking at the portal at all times. And ETN went into the portal 30 minutes ago, officially so. Florida is an interesting situation. A lot of these programs are. Are you going to get better at all if you lose a lot of your current talent? If you're the Florida Gators, I think that's, and you're 5-7. Excuse me, you're 5-7 on the heels of 6-7. First string of 3 consecutive losing seasons since before the interstate highway system in the United States. I think that's what all fan bases are doing right now as a lot of players are entering the portal. It's like, when am I going to know if we got better or not? And it's going to be a minute before we all know the answer to that question for all of our respective programs.
I know that every fan, I know this is true because I'm very much this way. This morning I was going through and I was looking at the names that hit the portal overnight, or those kids that announced that they were going to enter the portal. And, you can go and you'll find lists of the top 50 players all around that are in the portal. And you've got offensive linemen, and you've got linebackers, and you've got, you can go through all this. And Tom, it's like a kid at Christmas or a kid in a candy store. You want every last one of them. You can't help yourself. You sit there and you're like, well, I don't know about that kid. Let me click on his name. I don't think I've seen him play. So the Mascarenas kid, who's a linebacker out of Oregon State, well, look at this. My man was the top tackler in the Pac-12, 107 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions. He was a sideline-to-sideline guy. We better get him. That's what I end up doing with all these guys. It's just like free agency. You're going to, like, we need him. We could use him. We would take him, that guy right there. That's a good guy right there. Yeah, on and on and on. And it's you can't help yourself.
Can I tell you that I am stunned that Huddle has not opened up a wing for college football players yet in which you see their clips, their film. Like, I get it. You can go to YouTube for a star player or a quarterback and go see highlights. Like, for example, Cam Ward, if you really wanted to watch his highlights from Washington State, you could do that, and that's
Correct.
easy to find. But if you're talking about a defensive end, defensive tackle, linebacker, I mean, all these positions, you go through the list of guys that are unheralded and their conference or their own football team's not going to mash up 3 good minutes of what they did the last year. I am stunned Huddle has not expanded to that wing of the enterprise yet, because we all are the same. We're like you. When there's a dude in the portal and they fit the position that we want to see, it could be Power 5, Group of 5, FCS, number 1 JUCO player. Like, how is there not a place that we can go and watch their film like we do for high school players?
Cam Ward, by the way, right when this all went down, we were kind of, first of all, he was weighing the option. Cam Ward was the quarterback you referenced a moment ago from Washington State. He was weighing the option as to whether or not he wanted to enter the NFL draft or transfer to another program, because this is a real talent. You're talking about a kid who's 6'2", 6'3", 220 plus pounds, who could really move. Is kind of an interesting story. He's a player that transferred to Washington State from Incarnate Word, for people who don't know that. And you go back and look at his numbers where he was an FCS All-American. Not many of us watching the FCS, not many of us watching Southland Conference, where he was the player of the year. And you see those numbers while he was at Incarnate Word. He threw for 4,700 yards, 47 touchdowns. I mean, he was in the wrong weight class, Tom. He needed to move on, and he did. And he went to Washington State, where he was an all Pac-12 type player. He was honorable mention. He was very, very good, and he improved on the numbers from 2022 and 2023. Threw for over 3,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, 25 touchdowns, I should say, to 7 interceptions. He also rushed for 8 touchdowns. So he's a guy that immediately our fan base said, I'd like that kid. And I'll be honest with you, me too. I don't know what the number is. And that's really going to matter. But yeah, me too. I don't mind if I do.
Well, it all comes back to the same question, that we talked about yesterday. How do you define what is possible next season? And that will inform, if you've got a budget, which I'm sure they do, and it's expanding. How about the exponential growth of the Battle's End? They're over 3,500 members today. Like last week, they were at 1,300. People are pissed. And they're signed.
My dad joined yesterday.
He did?
Yeah. My dad called me and said, hey, can you give me the lowdown on this Battle's End? Yeah, Dad, I can.
That's wild. Did you tell Ingram to be on the lookout for a Cameron on the sheet?
Yeah, I just texted him and said, "Hey, Dad's coming. He's joining." And Ingram just sent me back a smiley face. So yeah.
Make sure to get the address now. Make sure to send him the fleece, Ingram. You got to take care of Papa Cameron.
Yeah, throw that fleece my dad's way. He'll wear it proud.
So the budget's going up in general, I think, based upon the roster of people, because it's not all like every dollar counts. Don't get me wrong, but there are a lot of big donors that have been added to the
Of
Battle's End.
course.
But define what you want to get out of 2024 and 2025. Look at them as maybe a 2-year model, and then from that point, you budget for portal, you budget for 1-year rental portal guys, and then high school players, and that's still something that I think it might be fluid to a degree. But you've got under 2 weeks now before signing day. You know, everybody early today was watching Jeremiah Smith kill my CCC Marauders. Unbelievable that the Marauders are in the same class as Chaminade. It's ridiculous.
That'll hurt your feelings.
He's in Tallahassee. Let's see if we can make some moves there. Certainly, if you make a move there, then maybe the budget for the transfer portal is a little bit lower. Like there's so much fluidity to how you need to work this. But I don't know that we have enough pieces right now to expect another 11-1, 12-0 type season. That just might be a bridge too far. I wonder what the staff and what the collective are going to do over the next month. But I think, there's an increasing likelihood, increasingly more likely, that a quarterback is going to be a part of this thing out of the portal.
I went into these last few games on the season thinking that that's not the route we would go. No knock on Brock because of the first ever career start in a game of that magnitude. I still think he's going to be very, very good. I'll stand by that. I think he's going to be very, very good. But I did realize if it were possible that you could get a guy who's ready-made, and we know how Mike can really utilize a guy's unique skill set in these offenses, his offense, I'd be willing to do it. Because I think even if you don't believe Tom, and this is where I've kind of hedged a little, I was like you, and in fact, we talked about it and we agreed. I thought if there's not a quarterback out there that changes the game, changes the season for you, that makes you, as I like to say, probably too much, appreciably better. You go from what you have, maybe being a 9-win type team, to is there a guy out there that makes you an 11-win type team? Is there a guy, maybe if you think your 8 or 9-win team is going to go to a 10 or 11-win team, would you do that? Well, I think you would, because you do have a chance, I think, to really listen. That game is at home against Clemson next year, and I have a suspicion that this defense is going to be good again. I think they're going to find the right pieces. Let's just put it that way. I think there are enough of those pieces that are already here that, in my opinion, will stay here when it all shakes out. And if that happens, you could be really good again. You may not be, it's how are you going to trump an undefeated season? I mean, how are you going to, you can't surpass an undefeated season, a 13-0 campaign, but you don't have to. You can go 11-1 and win the conference championship and go to 12-1, or you can go 11-2 overall in the season and still find yourself perhaps in a college football playoff, or at least you will sustain the upward mobility that we've witnessed over the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think the hard balance to strike, you talk about this all the time with general managers in professional sports. Like, you've got to be the adult in the room. Everybody wants to buy every trade deadline in the pros. They always want to buy. And you've got to be the adult that says, I get it. We're 6 games over 500.
Yeah, we're not good enough.
It's smoke and mirrors. We're not 2 players away. So we need to sell. We're going to sell at 6 games over 500, and I'm going to be hated for it, but it's the right decision. I'm not saying that's what Florida State needs to do, but what I am saying is I don't want to mortgage 25 and 26 on trying to flip everything and go all in next year with a bunch of brand new players. There's going to be a lack of continuity. Even in the best scenario, there's going to be a lack of continuity in turnover when you're talking about starters on offense and starters on defense next year, such that I don't want to go all in next year at the expense of 25 and 26, because I think we've got a really nice crescendo we're arriving at in 2 to 3 seasons from right now. So if you can spend discretionary dollars, and I think I would just have in 26 more than next year.
Really quickly before we take a break, let's get these Redemption Thursday wagers out there. And for the reason that we can also say, I don't see why not. I don't see why not, Metro Deli. Had a great opportunity to sit and have some cold beers with Rob from Metro Deli, the owner of Metro Deli. He's a great guy, a fixture in Tallahassee. That deli is a classic, a one of one. And we had a deep dive on Florida State and our lives and everything else. It was a good time. Go support the fine folks at Metro Deli. All right, so we're running out of games, and I'm going to start getting creative. I'd really like to continue to keep the Redemption Thursday segment hasn't been a year-round thing. I'd like to keep it because I gamble year-round. I gamble all the time. I gamble when I don't have things to gamble on because I'm irresponsible. But not everybody is that way, I understand. So you do you. I'm not encouraging you to do anything you can't do or shouldn't do. But here you go. I did go with the Ravens minus 3.5 in the first half against the Rams. The Ravens have continued to be an incredible first half team. I suspect they will sustain that in inclement weather where they are also mutters. So I think that they'll play very well. I like them in the first half. The problem with the Ravens this year, and I have found this out personally, when they get leads, they shut it down. And they get backdoored like I can't say it, but they get it.
Dude,
it tries,
no.
I'm scared, Tom. No, it drives me nuts. So I'm done with the full game bets on them. I'm just steady. First half with the Ravens. They're well prepared, well coached. They come out ready to play. But they too often, it burned them. Think back to that game they lost. Was it the Cincinnati game where they had the big lead? Oh, Cleveland.
Cleveland.
They had the big lead, and then they just tried to shut it down, thinking there's no way Cleveland can come back, and then they got backdoored. So there you go. I'm done with it. Give me the Ravens in the first half, minus 3.5. Give me the Browns minus 3 against the Jags and a backup quarterback. I like that Cleveland defense to carry the day in this one. Give me the Bengals. I'm a believer in Browning. What I saw, chucking it around the lot. Let's go. Speaking of Washington, I'll give the -1 there. Detroit, Chicago, I'm going under the 42.5. I actually think this turns kind of a weather game, and I'll go that route. And then finally, okay, crank the siren. I'll give you.
Our ass is in the jackpot now.
So I'm gonna give you this because Tom, I couldn't help myself. I just figured you'd laugh. The Grant Thornton Invitational is this weekend, guys, and I am a big Grant Thornton Invitational guy. I like it. It pairs, if you don't know what it is, it pairs a PGA player and an LPGA player, and I'm just a big fan of the Grant Thornton. More of us should watch the Grant Thornton Invitational, and I got thoughts on the Grant Thornton Invitational. And so when I saw these odds, I had to jump on it. So I started with McCarthy and Kang, Denny McCarthy and Kang. I thought top 5 finish guaranteed for these two. Of course, suits them both perfectly. They're top 5. We're gonna get that at +150.
Wait a minute. What's Kang's first name?
It is Michelle. I believe it's Michelle. I think I'm right about that. I think it's Michelle. But I like Kang. And then Aberg and Sagstrom. We all know Aberg and Sagstrom. So what are we doing here? So, but we do know Aberg. You guys do know that if you follow the tour. But anyhow, so Aberg and Sagstrom are getting +600 odds to win outright. Pizza money, gang. That's what golf betting's about. You can't go all in on a winner on an outright, but you can take whatever it fits your means. You can take, say, $25 a little pizza money and throw it at an outright at +600. And when it hits, you got lots of pizzas to play with over the weeks to come when you bet the golf.
This is nice. This is a monumental occasion. I know Redemption Thursday typically makes it through the playoffs for the NFL, like all the way to the end. But that you're committing now, here in December, that it's going to be a year-round thing, that makes me so happy. Because more people can bet now. Some people were averse to just texting with a random person saying, all right, PHI -6.5, you know? Now you can actually go to an app because it's legal. I think you're embracing things at the correct level because now it is a year-round deal for everybody.
Yeah, I was enjoying right off the bat. We've got to get our boys at the Hard Rock on board here soon. But I was enjoying this. I thought this is going to work out well. So I have some Hard Rock bets. I've got some bookie bets. I've got some side bets with dudes I met at the bar. I got, we're good. We got things. We got action going on here on a Redemption Thursday, brought to you by the Metro Deli. Good times. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
So I have been in the operating room most of my career, watching people have orthopedic surgery, watching people get knees replaced, hips replaced, shoulders fixed, and I knew there had to be a better way.
That's Dr. Daniel Zuckerman, a medical director for QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in non-invasive regenerative treatments for pain relief.
I see so many people who could have been helped before they got to the operating room if only they had known about regenerative medicine.
QC Kinetics, a natural alternative that uses your body's own healing properties to help restore and repair damaged joint tissue, providing long-lasting relief without drugs, surgery, or downtime.
Well, it feels great when I do get to see somebody who we help, who I know I kept out of the operating room. It's amazing how we change people's lives without surgery.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 850-391-4280. That's 850-391-4280. 850-391-4280.
Warning. The following Zaxby's ad may contain messaging upsetting to Philadelphians. Zaxby's took the iconic Philly sandwich, the quote-unquote perfect Philly sandwich, and made it perfecter by putting fried chicken on it. That's right, fried chicken on a Philly. And while Philadelphia might find it offensive, you can find it at your local Zaxby's. Finally, the Philly done right. Woo, saucy! Zaxby's.
The perfect gift under the tree this year is a new spa or hot tub from Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas. There's nothing like resting your jolly old soul in the spa after a long, stressful day. And it's the gift that keeps on giving all year long. Heat up your holiday with the end-of-year sale going on now at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas. During the month of December, go to our new website, TallahasseeHotSpring.com, and fill out the contact form to receive an instant $1,000 off coupon towards the purchase of a Hot Springs hot tub. Get in touch now before this deal ends. Also, take advantage of up to $6,200 off select High Life models and get a free accessory with purchase of your new Hot Springs spa with affordable financing for qualified buyers. Come see Cameron. Visit TallahasseeHotSpring.com or check us out on Facebook or Instagram. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com. Coupon cannot be combined with any other offer. Come see us for the end-of-year sale. Happy holidays.
A cup of Joe, Java, brew, go-go beans, brain water, liquid lightning, wakey juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Get to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com
made the bet when I said Aberg Sagstrom. I saw Matthew nod his head, and he was in. He was in with a little Aberg Sagstrom action. He knew this is the wager I want to make this weekend. Tom's probably never watched the famed tournament of which I speak.
You know, I know that there is another invitational that will be played on January 1st, and it's for the sport that we're covering mostly.
Yeah.
The one that I enjoy actually is the father-son, because you watch Tiger and Charlie against the Dailies, who just clean up these days. I think that's coming up soon, right? I wonder if Tiger's going to play in it this year. He did play in his own tournament.
He did, and that last round he shot was a 71, which was in inclement conditions. So Tiger's still got a little something in there, but man, I don't know. I sit around thinking all the time whether or not Charlie is going to ascend to the top of the golf world. It doesn't appear that he's affected at all by the superstardom.
That's correct. He's an sad that I know this, but this is when you're Tiger Woods' son. To be his teammate in high school, it's got to be really weird.
They won a state championship.
Yeah, and he was like a counting score or not a counting score.
He was the fourth. Yeah.
Yeah. So like his three teammates were like, well, whatever. Charlie Woods wins a state title.
He's like a freshman or something.
Yeah. I won the state title.
I guess. I mean, there were kids who had better scores, seniors who had better scores. They know that won't last very much longer. That's about another half year.
Hey, the battle's end is involved with the golf recruiting. Not that Charlie Woods needs an NIL deal, but not for nothing. They are usually very involved with golf, so that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I have a suspicion if he goes to play college at all, it'll be Stanford. But yes, I understand. Come on, Trey Jones, who I spoke to yesterday, make it happen.
Look, Charlie, you already do enough things like your dad. You walk like him. You do the putter lean like when you're waiting to putt.
Yeah.
Take your own path, Charlie. Take your own path, and let's see if we can. We can join Tiger out there at Legacy for 9 one day. That'd be lovely,
buddy. I wouldn't be able to take the club back. I wouldn't be able to take the club back if Tiger was like, "Go ahead, you're up. Go ahead, lead the way."
So
there's no chance.
I would method act, and I would talk like Tiger the whole way. Like that's how I talk. Like, "Hello, Tiger. How you doing, Tom?
Yeah,
nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Good putt. Good putt.
You did it again.
Pick it up. That's good. Pick it up, Tiger."
No, man. Can you? If he did that, Tiger Woods, nice to meet you. You'd be like, "Oh, okay, this is happening." Tom, lead the way. He's just standing behind you.
I would make well, you got to make light of it at that point. I'd make the Tiger noise in the backswing. And then come on down.
Oh, that'd be crazy. No news, by the way, other than this for those that asked the question in the chat, and I get it as we pivot back to Florida State for a second. The problem with a radio show during this time of year is, yes, it's a busy time of year. Yes, there are many things to talk about, many things to dive into and worry about and follow. But they don't happen in real time. They don't happen in the way that helps us live on the radio. So, for example, I would really like to I'd like to know that the young man from Chaminade, who was just getting done kicking Tom's high school's ass, was ready to commit. 5-star wideout Jeremiah Smith, ready to roll. But, it hasn't happened. His father, however, has come out and told Chad Simmons of On3 National that the entire decision, quote unquote, is his.
What?
Yes. Now, okay, hold on. Is that breaking news? Is that breaking news? Do you believe him, A? B, is that a change? Because if you believe him, that's a change. For those behind the scenes, the fight has been, at least as I understand it, I don't know, I don't roll in those circles, but the fight has been what his dad wants compared to what maybe he and his mom want. And those rumors, and that's what they are, I don't know, I'm not in those living rooms to have that conversation, have really persisted throughout that, look, the dad wants him to go to Ohio State. Obviously, Ohio State has had a slew of all world receivers. Now, there's no getting around that. They have. Perfectly acceptable place to want to go if you're a receiver. But that the young man may want to go to Florida State, and that there was sort of a tug of war where the mom was saying about the young man, hey, let him, Dad, make the decision. It's his call. It's where he's going to be playing football. And the dad saying, Father knows best. I think you need to take it on to Ohio State, maximize your opportunities, all of that. I don't know what's real and what's not real. Those things have been talked about and whispered about for weeks and weeks and weeks. So if the dad is serious and he is saying that, quote, the entire decision, that's what he said, the entire decision is his. Now, you know, look, obviously Florida, Miami, Florida State have all been trying to pull Jeremiah Smith away from Ohio State. He took visits to all of those schools that I just mentioned. He's going to visit Florida State again this weekend. This weekend he's here. He may be here hours from now. His decision on whether he'll sign with Ohio State or flip to Florida State is expected during the early signing period. So he's had many visits here, and this is just another one. His father quoted to On3, Jeremiah has been to Florida State before, but never on an official visit. So this visit will be semi-big this weekend. I don't talk to FSU all that much, but they do call to check in, see what's going on, and they do ask about Jeremiah. They have called to keep in touch. Then he goes on to say, FSU is a good school with good coaches and has a great atmosphere, but the decision is going to come down to where Jeremiah wants to play. You buy that?
So I'm glad to hear that when Florida State calls Jeremiah Smith's dad, they're calling to talk about Jeremiah and not the dad. That's a good sign. His official visit can start in like 10 minutes because the state championship was at FAM. So he could be in the Moore Center for all we know right now. I'm very disappointed. I'll say this. I'm very disappointed that you read the full quote because I thought he said, quote, the decision is his. And I thought that meant that Jeremiah's dad is using the royal his. The royal the biggest part of the decision is that would be a good development for Florida State.
It would be a huge development for Florida State if it's true.
Yes. I will do what recruiting people do. Let me put on the terminology. I feel very good about Florida State's chances if that's true. There you go.
He also went on to say, I want him to go where coaches will hold him accountable. Well, buddy, this is the place. Because Keon Coleman was a superstar walking through the door, and less than a week, Mike Norvell was screaming at him at the top of his lungs at a practice I was at. So that is who Mike is. He's a former receiver who holds wide receivers to the highest bar. And really all of his players, that's the way he operates. But, you know, you have a special place in your heart when you played the position. And you also have probably an advanced level of understanding of the nuance of the position. So if everything is not just perfect, Mike's going to tell you about it. Whether you're a superstar or a low on the rung freshman who's got a couple years before he makes an impact, he treats everybody the same in that regard. But so for the father to say, I want him to go where coaches will hold him accountable, give him an opportunity to compete, and treat him as I would treat him as a father. I want him to play for a tough coach that will push him hard, but still look out for him. Well, look, I think every parent wants that. That's kind of generic. Well, you know, the truth is not every parent wants that. Sometimes parents want just a lot of money. And, you know, that's the seedy part of the business and all of that. It also makes you sad when you witness it because you're like, you're not being a parent. You're just being a mooch. Living vicariously, both financially and emotionally through your son, that's no way to be. That's an awful thing. If he's being serious about all of this and saying that he just wants a coach who's going to be tough on him, who's going to push him, who's going to look after him, man, Mike Norvell's reputation is really good in that regard.
And the other thing that's important is it is more than likely that this is his last official visit unless he can wedge it in. It's I think they might be playing some sort of extra game in high school over the next week that, you know, but what's important is that could prohibit him from stopping somewhere else before it's over, because forever and a day it was considered to be a lock that Jeremiah Smith would spend his final official visit at Florida State in what would be next weekend on the calendar, the closest to signing day. But as it stands right now, he's here this weekend, and then there are no more OVs elsewhere. It's always a good deal to get if you can get the final OV. So that's where contextually Florida State's in a good spot. If Papa is keeping his word here, I think Florida State is in even a better spot. But, this is an 11th hour business these days with NIL, final offer, best and final, that kind of thing happens all the time.
Also, something to point out here before, we break. I find this interesting. It's a very short-sighted and reactionary sort of comment that I hear people make, or that I see on the message boards, or that I see on Twitter. People will say, well, why would you go to Florida State where even if you play well and win all your games, you can't go to the playoffs? Guys, it is a 12-team playoff next year. Florida State would have been in the playoff if they had lost the Louisville game. Hell, there's a chance Florida State would have been in the playoff if they had lost 2 games this year. So you are going to the playoffs if you have a great season at Florida State. You are. That is the way. This is where we're at. There's none of that nonsense that schools can use against you. This is not a situation where, they can say, hey, look, man, you go to FSU. It's a great school. Program's moving in the right direction. Great coach. I hear you. I understand why you're interested. But I'll tell you what, if they win all their games, there's no guarantee they're going to make the playoff. Yeah, there is. Yes, there is. 100% guaranteed. That's dumb. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Franklin County Sheriff's Office, Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, and Sea-Tow Foundation partner to provide loaner life jackets at boat ramps in Franklin County to promote boat and water safety. People can borrow a life jacket while on the water and return it to the box when they're done. Sea-Tow Foundation, a nonprofit, has supplied life jackets to about 1,300 loaner life jacket stations across the United States. 6 loaner life jacket boxes built by Franklin County jail inmates were placed in the county. Construction has begun on Wulani Boulevard as part of Blueprint's Northeast Gateway Wulani Boulevard project. The project would extend Wulani Boulevard by about 6 miles through I-10 all the way to Bradfordville Road. Blueprint initially estimated the project budget at about $95 million, but that later grew to $134 million. Blueprint cited increases in material costs, construction prices, and real estate values as reasons for the increase. The project is expected to be completed in spring 2026. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A blend of clouds and sun this afternoon. Daytime highs approaching 62. Southeast winds around 5 miles per hour. Lows around 43 tonight. Partly cloudy skies. Cloudy skies tomorrow. High of 66. 74 Saturday with a chance for scattered storms. 68 Sunday. Chance for storms continues. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 61.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Is that what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of, that nobody would know, and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact
I'm challenging myself to run up hills in the morning. Is something I want to do, just up hills, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes of running up a hill. And I was all gung-ho this morning, Tom, to get up at 5 and go run up a hill for 15 minutes before jumping in the shower. And it was 36. Man, I don't know about this hill. Maybe we'll start on Monday. That's the other problem I have sometimes, where I'm like, all right, I want to incorporate, in addition to Orange Theory Fitness, I'm going to do this little 15-minute run up this hill by my house each morning, get the day started, get the blood flowing. You know, this is going to be an instant path to dropping the 20 lbs I want to drop. We're going to do this. And then all of a sudden you're kind of like, oh, man, I don't know, it's a little windy outside or it's raining outside. All right, so even if you build that excuse in, you say that to yourself, today's Thursday, and my mind went, maybe we should push to Monday. Not Friday, not Saturday, not Sunday, but I'm going to have to push it to Monday, guys. We'll start fresh on a Monday, and then it really feels like that's a good jumping off point.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a clean start. I mean, look, the NFL's on Sunday. I'm going to eat poorly. I might have a couple of beverages. So, you know, with that in mind, that's not really any momentum if I were to run today. So let me start on Monday so that the next time the NFL comes around, I've got 4 or 5 good runs in. Yeah, I played that game.
Storing them up. That's all I'm doing. Yeah, no word. Again, we got asked this. No word on Jeremiah Smith. We'll wait and see. This is. I find all of this fun. I found it fun last year. I don't get stressed by this stuff. I don't sit around by the hour worrying about a player that's on our roster that's going to leave, or a player on another roster that's, you know, maybe somebody we're going after. I do follow very closely to see who's coming into town, who we get visits from, and who we're talking up and have an opportunity with. But anymore, I think you just learned you got to let these guys do their jobs and then judge them on how well they did them. And right now you've got an elite class coming in, and you've got opportunities in the portal. You're going to lose some kids, and you know that's going to happen. We'll see which ones actually follow through and which ones don't. As of right, and by the way, the other part about all of this, and this I do for the purposes of my job, I do try to go get the information as to why. That is context. That informs my opinion of this ongoing and very fluid situation. Why? Why did a player leave? Matters. Why did a player stay? Matters. Did the coaches want the player to leave? I mean, sometimes that's part of it too. That the coaches, and I mean, even if it's a great player, there are times where the coaches will say, you know what, kid wants out. I think that'll work out best for both of us. Have a good one. No hard feelings. Best of luck to you, son. You go your way. We'll continue to go on ours. Others will, there are times where you hear the information and you're like, well, that's not good. They screwed this up, or that coach screwed this up, or we need to get to the bottom of this. Other times it's just that a kid needs an opportunity. You know, if you're a third string kid and you're just not going to play, you're behind, you're buried on the depth chart, and you're going into your junior year, I get it. You know, you can say, that's it, I'm out. I don't think I'm ever going to play here. And nobody has a problem with that. So each kid is very different. I'm always just trying to find out who it is and why, and what are the backstories. You know, what matters most is, again, getting a read on, are they doing their jobs? Are we seeing the playing field the same way? I don't know. It's harder to get a handle on that than ever before, because, again, I think the kids have a bit of some of the kids are delusional about what's possible in NIL. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I think that we talked about this on the phone today too. More than just Huddle expanding their industry to go get obscure college football player highlight mashups prepared so that fans can consume who it is that they want. I mean, people would click on that left and right in the portal. Mm-hmm. Agent representation for high school players and college players as they enter the portal for the NIL. There is a Billy Sexton out there somewhere Jimmy, sorry, I always do that. Jimmy Sexton out there somewhere for this particular industry. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet, that somebody has cornered the market, but you can make a lot of money in making sure that kids are asking for reasonable amounts of bumps, not unreasonable bumps. And I'm sure that that's going to be coming down the pike at some point, but there is an overvaluing. And again, I'm not saying it's collusion. I'm saying it's market regulation. Collectives talk to each other so that they know they don't have to spend $1.5 million on a player for no reason.
You'd have to be, I think there are maybe a very few number of players, 3 to 5, handful of players that maybe where that kind of money would be spent. You'd have to have a generational talent at the most important position, quarterback, maybe 2 or 3 quarterbacks. And that's not even this year, because there's none of them right now that you would say that about, that are in the portal. If you rank the quarterbacks in the portal in any given order, I know that you can go to 6, 7 different sites that do this. Whether you're thinking that it's Riley Leonard over Dylan Gabriel, or you think Cam Ward is ahead of both those individuals, there are people out there that will tell you it's Dante Moore. I'm not one of them. But, because he was a freshman and what he was thought to be, he was the number 2 overall prospect in 2023. He was a 5-star kid. Everybody thought he was going to be a stud. He originally committed to Oregon. Then he ended up at UCLA, and he appeared in 10 games this year, threw for 1,600 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. And, it was tumultuous, to say the least. So, if you think his upside at 6'3", 210, athletic as hell, is going to be the one, then there you go. But, he's a kid right now that's looking at Michigan State, Texas A&M, LSU, Miami, Michigan, a lot of schools. He's not looking at Florida State, and I don't think we want him. Do you like Will Howard? When you go through the list of quarterbacks, Will Howard's the Kansas State quarterback, for those that don't know. He's huge. He's 6'5", 240 plus, and he runs big when he runs. He's not a bitch. This is a guy that will run you over. 9 touchdowns on the ground, 350 plus yards rushing. When he did run, he threw for 2,600 yards in the air, 24 touchdowns. He was a top 20 quarterback in FBS and total QBR. He's a guy that is a 1-year rental. He's a senior. He's 1 year, and that's what you got. And you know what? Florida State will only be interested, I think, in a 1-year guy. Do you agree with that, Tom? I think that is it.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense to me, short of there being a superstar freshman or sophomore that enters the conversation. It would need to be that level, though. And, there aren't guys that are knowns. So, yes, it has to be a 1-year player. The thing I'm growing more and more concerned about, and it's not because Thomas Schrader entered his name in the portal, which he just did.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
No, but that segment group is starting to concern me. What's the long-term plan there? Because if you've got Daughtry Richardson and Kayshawn Sapp, 2 members of that vaunted class from a couple of years ago, entering the portal, Kania Charlton has some potential, but I don't know when that's going to materialize. Armello's been up and down. They like early. They think they've got a hit on early there.
They like Otto. We feel very good about Otto.
Again, he's from a more recent class. There should be what we were expecting and counting on was a natural passing of the torch from the recruiting class that we signed a couple of years ago in spades. 3 or 4 players from that class hitting. It's looking more likely that it's 1 or 2 at most. And Lucas Simmons is going to be a good player. They project Andre Otto is going to be a good player. But I think we're going to need a bridge now between where we are today and 25, and I think we might need to go dip in the portal for at least a couple, because Bless Harris is now in the portal too. That's not helpful either.
Well, let me say that my understanding is that Bless Harris is not disgruntled. This is about playing time. Well, if this is about playing time, that means a conversation occurred, and that means that there were no guarantees made to Bless. So they feel better about somebody than they do Bless Harris at the tackle position. All right. I suspect I know who that is. But that said, I completely agree with you. They got to go out and get 2 guys. And I think it's fair to say this was not a banner year for Alex Atkins. I said it. This was not a very good year for Alex Atkins, whereas the year before was. This was not. I think we went from, we got the guy that might be the best in the business to, where are the reinforcements? Where is that class? Where's the development? Where's the backup center?
To put it simply, why are we still counting on Rob Scott, Maury Smith, and Darius Washington? And I think we are. So why is that still the case in 2024?
Well, and at this point, I just, based on usage this year, I'm not entirely certain that Armella is going to be a part of anything. So, again, there's another guy that you'd say, well, hey, man, what gives? Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with. Fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Orthopedic pain and injury deserves effective treatment options now, so you feel better fast. Whether you have joint pain that won't subside or an urgent orthopedic injury, we are the specialists to get you back on your feet. And there's only one thing better than fast care: expert care. We believe you deserve both. TOC, only experts. Learn more at teamtoc.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
I'm Greg Tisch, and I want to share one of my favorite TCC alumni stories. It's been almost 30 years since Charlie Ward led the 1993 FSU football team to its first national championship, won the Heisman, and became the first Heisman winner to play in the NBA. But did you know, like thousands of students before and since, he started his college career at TCC? We are proud to call Charlie Ward one of our own. Today, he serves on the TCC District Board of Trustees, so you might even get to see him around campus.
TCC thanks our community for 58 years of support. We look forward to moving into the future together.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee.
The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Trevor Lawrence suffered a high ankle sprain, and the Jaguars lost to the Cincinnati Bengals as 10-point favorites on Monday night. The Jaguars are 3-point underdogs at the Cleveland Browns this week, 30.5 the total at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Coming up in college basketball tonight, it's Florida A&M, a 7-point dog at Presbyterian, 138.5 the total. UCF laying 14 against the Jacksonville Dolphins tonight, 143.5 the total at Addition Financial Arena. The NBA, the Orlando Magic, a 4.5-point dog at the Cleveland Cavaliers, 222.5 the total. Get your free VSiN subscription right now at VSIN.com. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
It's Macy's One Day Sale now with great deals of the day on gifts we love, like 60 to 65% off warm and stylish coats for everyone, 35 to 70% off fine jewelry she'll adore, and 75% off holiday decor for a cozy, welcoming home. Best of all, everyone gets $10 Macy's money for every $50 spent. Learn more at Macy's.com/Macy's money. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Omaha steaks are a favorite around the Musburger household. I would like to tell you that we send them as gifts to everybody, but the truth is, we eat them. That's how delicious they are. Oh, those butcher's cut filet mignons, the mouth-watering burgers. Oh, even a gourmet jumbo frank for Santa on Christmas Eve. You can't beat it. 50% off site-wide and save an additional $30 when I use the promo code VSIN. OmahaSteaks.com.
Your friendly neighborhood bar and grill just got a whole lot closer to home. You can now order delicious Smitty's Tap House and Grill for delivery directly to your doorstep. Just visit Smitty'sTapHouse.com, click the Order Online button, and choose pickup or delivery. Enjoy Smitty's famous handmade pretzel with beer cheese, juicy pub burger, or even the amazing schnitzel sandwich, delivered fresh right to your doorstep. Support local and order online today for takeout or delivery at Smitty'sTapHouse.com, where everybody knows his name.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we're hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service, right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mndlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5.
The Cheez-It Bowl was a massive celebration, and this year the Orange Bowl is going to be a dud. Yeah, I thought the same thing. It's kind of interesting. It was a lot of fun going over there. You know, you just talk about all of the things that the end of the season a year ago signified, and in some ways we're in another very impactful end of the year. It's just, what are the implications? The implications for last year's Cheez-It Bowl, and we all went over to Orlando and had a great time and broadcast from over there. I had a blast, other than that dump of a stadium. It was a good time. And you go in there and you have fun and you watch your team win a thrilling game against Oklahoma. And what that did is it proved to be the catalyst for Florida State to have high expectations coming into this season. Those expectations were met. Florida State won every one of their games. You got to let that sink in. I keep saying this a lot. I know we're embattled and frustrated and embittered, and all of it's true. And I had a guy who's a very rational human being who has followed Florida State forever text me and say, man, I'm still not doing well about this. I'm still a little angry about this. And I said, yeah, I think that's probably indicative of the feelings of any number of Florida State fans, and will be for a long time. But the key is to, while you can entertain those thoughts and you can be frustrated and you can talk and vocalize your frustrations about what happened and with the process and all those things. That's true. But you also have to make sure you remind yourself in the midst of doing all that, Florida State went 13-0. They won the ACC. They're back atop the mountain in this conference, and it had been a long time. It's a reminder of how quickly time passes. You know, I was thinking of that. I was in the box in Charlotte there at Bank of America Stadium, whatever they call that, and as the waning seconds kind of ticked down, I thought, man, the last time we were here talking about an ACC championship, a lot of things were on our mind. First of all, we were talking about who we were going to play in the college football playoff, and we were thinking about an undefeated season and 29 straight wins. And we were thinking about, Florida State is a behemoth, and we didn't see a reason why that wouldn't continue. And then, of course, it all fell to pieces, and it wasn't long after that it did. It wasn't long after that. I remember telling Tom, I feel somewhat in 2015, there were some things we liked, but some things we did not like, and I was beginning to get nervous because I saw culture rot. Culture rot was a very real thing, and then really by 2016, I was beginning to say things that Tom and I would debate, where I'd be like, every week that goes by that we don't have Jameis Winston, the more I begin to wonder. And remember those discussions? We would sit around and get mad at each other and have fun with it, Tom. But there was more to that comment that I was making. You knew that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure everybody else did, but I was like, man, I'm beginning to wonder. So let me, again, big picture here, and I'll click you in here, Tom, in a second. But this is different. This feels still like it's still upwardly mobile. You know, the feeling that the undefeated season brings us this time around is that there's a lot more to come. There's a lot more in the way of sustaining excellence that's still to come, because they can get better. You know, they're elite at 13-0, but we know there are holes to fill, and we know that there are some exciting young players and more to come in. So I don't know. It's exciting to think about where this is going to go, even in the wake of the frustrations of being snubbed.
It is. There's just, I think
there he is.
Yeah, I think the problem is they went from, 0 to Armageddon in terms of their workload overnight. And like the moment you get past Miami, this is before Jordan's injury, you think, okay, that got a little tighter than it needed to down the stretch, but we are now in position here to be on cruise control and go 13-0 and be in the playoff. Jordan gets hurt. All right, got to sweat a trip to Gainesville now. Let's get through it. And they did. Okay, this is a pocket passing quarterback. This is a good matchup for us. Louisville in the ACC Championship. Then, Tate has the issues. It's like, oh my God, you go through all these things, then you can breathe and exhale, and you have about 12 hours to do so, because then you're screwed. And now that team has played its last game. Like, verifiably, that team has played, the 2023 Noles have played their last game, as we know them. Too deep, all that kind of stuff. And it just goes from 0 to 60 because Mike is a very regimented person. This was supposed to be about official visits, hitting the trail, talking to high school kids, and getting your practice schedule for the playoff. And now there's all this damage control that needs to be done. The work that they thought was going to happen in January is happening right now in the middle of everything else. That's why, to me, that there was no press conference today for either Kirby Smart or Mike Norvell. It was supposed to be on location in Miami for the Orange Bowl. No, man, don't have that kind of time to hop on a private jet and do a press conference and lose 5 hours out of my day. It's just, we don't have that kind of time. So it's just, the hard part is while I think you're correct, and we are on the upward path, most certainly we're on the upward path, this is turbulence on the flight that came out of nowhere because we were thinking it was smooth skies ahead. And so I don't want to be the guy that yesterday you were saying don't panic. I'm just saying they're working a lot harder right now on a lot more things than they were going to have to, than they thought they were going to have to work on.
They also have a much better and more stable launching pad than they had before. I mean, Florida State is, 18 straight, 19 straight games, whatever it is for Florida State now? I mean, I'm losing track of all the wins. Sorry. So when you are now a sexy program and you've already taken advantage repeatedly of the transfer portal and you have an elite class coming in, there's a lot of hard work to do that you're referencing. You are right, but this is the fun time. This is a good time. This is, we're mad. We're mad. We're all mad. It stings. And Mike's mad and sad for his kids. But, man, he knows where this thing is headed. He understands that they have a chance to compete for national titles if they do it right. And they continue to build on this. They have a chance to compete for national titles for the next 5 to 6 years. And, when you watch Alabama do what they've done and you look at what Georgia has done, you understand that while that is the highest level of sustained excellence that you can aspire to, and Alabama's in a class of all their own under Nick Saban, but we that's the neighborhood that Florida State aspires to. That's where they've been. They've resided in that neighborhood before. It's possible to do it again. So that requires an unbelievable amount of work. It's just a different kind of work. It's a different time of the year that the work is asked of you and prolonged, I might add. But it is a lot easier to do that work now that you've climbed out from the muck and you're not trying to sell a 3-win program or a 5-win program. You're selling an undefeated program. You're selling a program that just keeps winning and hasn't lost in more than a calendar year. You're selling a program that in front of the nation, the world watching, dominated Jaden Daniels and LSU for an entire second half of a football game. And we'll be reminded of that when we watch the Heisman ceremony and we see all the highlight clips of Jaden Daniels, because there won't be that many of them against Florida State. There won't be that many of them against Florida State. They're going to have to show all the times that he undressed the SEC, all the times that he embarrassed SEC defenses, because they won't be able to show the clips of him doing that to Florida State.
No, what they'll have there is a Tatum Bethune clip of him lighting up Daniels as he goes airborne in a short yardage play. There's a couple of explosives in the first half, but you're correct. It is one hell of a resume to be able to put out there in the portal that at Florida State, you can do this. And yes, we were a lot of transfers on our roster last year. That is correct. Some were multi-year transfers, some were one-and-done type players, but you can come here, immediately get better, immediately get noticed, and then immediately get paid. And I'm not talking about college. I'm talking about professional development. That's one thing that has happened in the last year for Florida State, is they're now gaining more of a reputation of development of players. Yeah. Before, it was they can entice people to come in, but do they make them better? Oh, hell yeah. Florida State makes players a lot better. And the thing is, in a situation like this that is a farce, we all agree on it, you don't have to look very hard to find the good in this situation, because I don't think the Battle's End is sniffing 2,000 members today without the farce that happened on Sunday. They're north of 3,000. It galvanized people. It pissed them off to open up the pocketbooks and ensure that Florida State is in the strongest position it's ever been in regards to player development in a different sense, if you will. But, I mean, they're closing in on tripling their membership in less than a week. It was sorely needed. Now it's happening. I hate that the committee's nonsense is what took us to this moment, but you were privy to those conversations more than I was this football season. Like, hey, man, would be nice if more of the base could hop on board. Here it is. Here it is. People are pissed off and motivated.
It's also exciting anytime, like I was looking at, I believe it was Matt Lasser's article on warchant.com. And you go through and look at the portal and, evaluating defensive end transfer options. And when you see some of the names that are in there, the kid out of Duke, the R.J. Oben kid, when you look at a Kyle Kennard, who I brought up from Georgia Tech, you look at Clifton from Vanderbilt, the Pittsburgh kid that everybody's excited about, who we've already offered, the Abor kid from Ohio State. There are a lot of big-time players that are well thought of, that have produced on the field already, that have multiple years left, that were elite players coming out of high school, and they are excited to be in contact with Florida State. You are going to have options if you lose some guys here and there. This is one of those places. It's a handful of places that kids in the transfer portal can see themselves going. And so you have, I don't know, say the pick of the litter, because other kids are going to compete with you, but you've got an awful lot of talent to choose from. Let's put it that way. And that is exciting in and of itself. So I get pumped about this. I think there are opportunities to continue to build on the success from this year in the wake of this devastating act from the committee. It doesn't have to be us wallowing for the weeks and weeks and weeks to come in the off season. You'll always remember it. It ain't going away. Be mad about it. I mean, this time next year, Florida State could be talking about hosting a playoff game, Tom, or not, or going on the road in the playoff, whatever it might be, right? It all could go down, and you're still going to be angry about what happened. You're still going to be pissed. That won't change. Hell, I have a feeling, fast forward 3-4 years from now, we could be sitting there sharing a cold one on a Friday, and all of a sudden we're going to go, how about those sons of bitches cheating us? We're still going to bring it up.
Yeah, because the thing that really still grinds my gears, to steal a Family Guy from a while ago, is that this is not a season in which the number one team in the country is head and shoulders above the rest. It just isn't. And even with a backup quarterback, with the way that defense had been playing, Florida State's defense, man, we had more than a fair shot in any one of those games. And that's what's always going to bother me, because it's going to feel like 2020. I get it. COVID's a different animal than the corruption of a college football playoff committee, but the feeling is the same. We didn't get to see the chance for them to see it through to the end and how far they could go, how much hell they could raise, because this defense would have led the way. It really would have, and it would have been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, man, I was thinking about our defense and getting Daryl Jackson back, and how that could have very easily been a 20-17 game one way or the other against Michigan. In fact, you could almost guarantee it would have been something along those lines with Daryl Jackson back. Yeah. Frustrating. Throw up the wagers. I forgot. We got to recap, because I made some, and I announced that I will continue to try to make some throughout the course of the year. We will not have Redemption Thursday days go the way of the dodo. No, sir. Ravens -3.5, half number one. Don't worry about both halves, just the first half. Ravens -3.5. Browns -3 against the Jags. Backup quarterback. Browns defense equals I'll give the 3. Bengals -1. I'm a believer. Browning's going to continue to throw it around the lot. Screw the Colts. Detroit, Chicago under 42.5. And on the PGA Tour, big-time tournament this weekend, and we got after it. Michelle Kang. Denny McCarthy, top 5 finish, +150. Why are you booing that? You don't like that bet?
I believe it's Danielle Kang.
Susan Kang. Denny McCarthy, here we roll. Come on, Lisa Kang. Make it happen, baby. Let's go, Toots. Swing away. You're up. Aberg and Sagstrom. Damn right at +600 to win outright. We're going to do this thing. It's going to happen. Trisha Kang is going to help McCarthy. McCarthy's going to help Trisha. And we're going to win.
Yeah,
Chef Cameron Show 93. What?
I was going to say P. Simpson. That was a tough time for me to freeze.
Yeah.
But P. Simpson points out rightfully that you've got to pick a side somehow, some way for Army Navy on Saturday. Got to do it.
All right, I'll do it after the break. Good job, P. Simpson. Jenny McCarthy. Yeah, we're good. We're good. I think we're good. I don't have any. We're all set. We're all set. Our wagers are in place. I stand by what I picked. Good pick. Lucy Kang and the gang. We're gonna win it.
I'm Caleb. I'm the lawn supervisor at Paul's Termite and Pest Control, and I really do love my job. Paul's has created an incredible work environment that always puts our customers' needs first. Their needs are our concerns, and my particular job of improving the health of North Florida lawns is something I truly enjoy. I'm an outdoor person, and I get to be outside all day, watching the lawns run through the stages full of weeds to weedless to lush, grass-filled landscapes is very rewarding. I'm proud to represent Paul's.
I'm Jay. Having the privilege to work with people like Caleb and all of our employees is truly an honor. There is no doubt that the staff of Paul's Termite and Pest Control is the best in our industry. All of our people are local, and local really does mean something. We're North Floridians. Our kids go to school here. We shop here. We build relationships here, and we honor our commitments. To all of our customers, thanks for trusting us to protect your family, pets, and home.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too, call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Now go call Seminole Glass. They'll get on the road and get it done fast.
Hey Tallahassee, Sarah here. This El Nino heat is brutal. When it's hot, glass is soft and more prone to cracks. No need to call your insurance. Go to SeminoleAutoglass.com. Upload your policy card and request an appointment.
Hey, Sarah, what note does a B make when it hits your windshield? A B flat.
Jimmy. Better call Seminole.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly.
I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
Was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 850-391-4280. That's 850-391-4280. 850-391-4280.
Give your business a facelift with a modern, consistent, creative brand overhaul from Curiosity Marketing Group. These days, it's not enough for your business just to have a standard website or a Google listing to reach your customers. Your business needs to stand out with eye-popping branding, modern web development, and strong marketing. And it takes a team to pull it all together. Words and websites matter. At Curiosity, we make the most of yours. Find out more at curiositymg.com.
I used to fight almost on a daily basis working on my business website. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I could never get it to function the way I needed it to, and I was losing customers because of it. That's when I called Curiosity Marketing. They listened, they understood, we collaborated, and in the end, they delivered beyond my highest expectations. Now, I can barely keep up with the work. They say the future belongs to the curious, and now I'm excited about the future of my business.
Find out more at curiositymg.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network.
for the future. Jonathan, I think you're going to be well represented in the weeks to come. This is going to be a feature on the show like kind of every day. It gives me a chance to mention ISF because there are wonderful friends and partners kicking ass and doing the things that obviously they do and that we've mentioned numerous times, whether that's allocation analysis and feasibility studies and modernization and business process reviews and compensation studies and all the things that make the world go around. ISF helping agencies conduct feasibility studies to figure out the best tech enhancements, the right people, the most efficient processes, and scheduled 4Bs to seek the funding that they need to make those changes and modernize. This is what's going on under ISF. So let's just do this, Tom. Let's just have fun with this. Let's talk all about it. Let's get into what our friends at ISF do and solve for the future. Corey was routinely saying he thought Florida State had to look into the portal for 10 to 14 players or something akin to that. And I think it's much more about how the dominoes fall. Are you going out and getting a quarterback? Ultimately, let's answer that question. Let's answer the question. Do you go out and go get a quarterback? Because if the answer is yes, you got to start there and build out from it.
Yeah, I am of the mind that it's gone from it's a luxury item to it's closer to a necessity. I want to know. The problem is you can't know what the coaching staff knows behind the scenes in terms of what is Tate going to do. Because if Tate comes back for the spring, I'm tempted to let him battle it out with Brock, let Luke get in here and see what you got. And then you could always make a decision on a quarterback in the spring window. I know there are fewer players at that point because nowadays everybody wants to jump into the portal right after the regular season starts. But I don't know that that's reasonable. I think you're kind of pressed. If you want to have an effect on other players in the portal that come to Tallahassee, like Jordan Travis did last year when he decided he was returning, it opened up a lot of doors, like Jaheim Bell, like Keon Coleman. If you want to make a splash like that, then you probably need to go get a quarterback first, and that's how you could roster build and make it happen quickly. I'm just on record saying, and I still firmly believe, that if you have to choose between either a longer-term successful build or a quick fix 2024 run at it all, I'd rather have the longer term be prioritized if some money's right on the fence about how you spend it.
Fair enough. I do what I do every time. Every time we have the discussion about where we're going to be, I always come back to defensive line and offensive line. Over and over and over and over again, I think the quarterback situation will work itself out. There are one or two guys that I would maybe consider for quarterback, and if they made their pitch to me and they were calling me and saying, hey, I'm really interested, I'd like to come, and then, you have the conversation, whatever it might be. If you think that that's going to change who you are, non-playoff to playoff, okay, we're having a discussion. Maybe that's right. But other than that, I am just looking at offensive and defensive line.
The one thing I'd say, though, you're correct when you said earlier last week that the coaching staff is going to tell you what they believe about their room. And you got to trust in that situation. So if they believe that a quarterback is necessary, then they're telling you their assessment of what has gone on in practice with both Brock and Tate this season and whether that's good enough or not. By definition, if they go and they grab a quarterback in the portal, they're telling you that Tate's been here for 4 or 5 years and it's never going to get to where it needs to go. That would be the message.
I'll be honest. I don't we think we know by now it's not Tate? I mean, don't we think we know?
Depends on.
He's been here 105 years.
It depends on what you're trying to get out of next year. If you're trying to win the ACC next year and usher along and pass the torch, because look, there's a middle path you can walk here, which is Tate is the presumed starter. Let one of your two young guys grow into it, and you can hand the torch off in the season. There's no rule that says that your starter in Dublin has to be your starter for the entirety of 2024. So I think it's a two-part deal. If they go try and get a quarterback now, they're saying Brock isn't ready, and we don't project he will be ready next season. If push comes to shove, Luke would be a true freshman, so he's going to be swimming. Like it's a two-part deal.
I think it's fair to say, like, this is one of the ways you could look at it. I don't know if this is the way they're looking at it. You could say, Tate Rodemaker's been here a long, long time. They've seen a lot of Tate. And Tate got an opportunity in the Florida game, and I know the situation didn't always work out the way you would have liked, but, man, I think he's a little bit more of that than not. And Brock has started one career game. One. And so even if you think he's going to be great, and I think he's going to be good, don't know about great, but I think he's going to be good. And as you just said, Kromenhoek is going to be a true freshman. He's never started. You wouldn't play him if you just wouldn't play him. So you kind of almost by definition at that point are right to go out and get a 1-year rental. If it's a Cam Ward, that just startled me to no end. Whatever that was. Wouldn't you at that point, I think you can say you need a quarterback, right?
Yeah, you could. And I think they might. Again, what's changing now is the amount that they're working with, I'm assuming, has to have gone up if your membership is tripled. One would think that you can say yes to more things. You could do the simultaneous yes to now, yes to 2025. The thing that I'm not trying to pack it in on next year. I know it sounds like that I am. I don't know that we are a Riley Leonard or a DJU or a Cam Ward away from putting us over the top next year. Whereas this past offseason, we were a Keon Coleman away from becoming what we were. We were a Braden Fisk away from becoming a 13-0 football team. I just don't know that we're in that type of position. So if you go get a quarterback, at that point, you better be going to, and he's a 1-year player, you better be going and getting another 4 or 5 dudes for the next year part of the equation, not the multi-year part of the equation.
I just think you need to try to go from being a non-playoff team to a playoff team. That's the way I view the quarterback debate. Let's go. If you're getting a guy, does he make you a playoff candidate? And a strong one. I think because I think the rest of the team, once it's finally put together, given what we have coming in, given what we can acquire in the portal, given what we have rising up the ladder. For example, I think I believe this wholeheartedly. I think Hakeem is going to be a star next year. I not even kidding. I think he's going to be a star wide receiver in this conference.
Yep, makes sense to me.
I just think he is. So you have it, and listen, I think you'll see Destin Hill play really well for Florida State next year. The missing link there is Vendravius Jacobs going to have it together? Is he going to keep it together? Because if he can get right, he's a freak of a talent. Now all of a sudden you got 3 real dudes at wide receiver. You've got a gazillion defensive backs that you like. You're fine there. You've got a ton of running back talent. You're fine there. I mean, we're really only talking about adding in a couple positions here. I mean, I think you got to get a linebacker, obviously, a couple offensive linemen, 2 offensive linemen, a linebacker, a defensive lineman. I mean, you hear me say that, and it sounds like a lot. I think that's a total of 5. Maybe you'd go up to 8. And who's not going to want to – I will say this. If Cam Ward were to say that he wants to be here, I mean, doesn't that change who's lining up?
Yeah, no, it does. And that would make the splash where it would get contagious in the portal the way it did for Florida State last season. That would be a conversation.
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say afford. That's the wrong way to look at it. But anyhow.
Well, it's just that DJ wouldn't be that guy. You know what I'm saying?
No, agreed.
So I don't know. There are some solutions there that would do exactly what you're saying. There are some others where I feel like we'd be forcing it for no reason because you might as well keep what you got because it's just about the same and let's save the money and spend it elsewhere. I'm assuming there's a budget and there's a cap, so to speak. Maybe there isn't. Maybe there's not.
Oh, well, I think you're right, though. There is. It makes sense. There always will be. Just a matter of does it move and how, what is that budget? I'm not talking about bringing in freaking Will Rogers from Mississippi State. Right. I agree with you. I'm not doing that. I'm looking at a few guys that I think fit the offense that really 1-year rentals. They don't upset the apple cart that much in terms of the depth chart and what's possible the following year. And like whether that's a Will Howard, whether that's a Cam Ward, whether that's a Dylan Gabriel, it's a very small group of quarterbacks that you would be picking from.
Yeah, I think, okay, so in terms of priorities, there are a lot of quarterbacks that might be a marginal improvement over what you have. There are a couple that would be significant improvement. But I think part of the reason you're hearing me hesitate is also when you're looking at the defensive line, that is not a settled matter by any stretch of the imagination. Not at all. I think that's got to be the top priority in general, is defensive linemen. We could retain a guy or two, sure, maybe all three in the end of some principal players who could improve our stock. But if you don't, and I know they're bringing dudes in left and right from Power 5 institutions, that's got to be shored up. And on the offensive line, Bless is in the portal. So you're telling me the leaders in the clubhouse for tackle next year are Robert Scott and Jeremiah Byers? No, man, that's got to be a much higher priority in this moment. You could make a much larger leap at other positions. Linebacker, you bet. You should get two of them. So you could make a giant leap at several positions before quarterback, to me, enters into the discussion, unless you're going to go land the big fish. You've got to land the big fish, because if it's just a moderate guy, those resources, I think, are better spent elsewhere, either for next season or on high school players.
Yeah, we agree. I mean, really, ultimately, the way you build this thing is through the high school ranks. And if you can secure elite talent in high school and build up your roster that way year over year, that's where you get the 5-star offensive lineman. That's where you get the 5-star defensive lineman. I get it. I agree with you. We're talking about not shutting the door on the possibility of certain players at certain positions, if they're the right players at the right positions at the right time, and what they do to bolster, do they serve as a magnet for those other positions? So you get this guy, and all of a sudden the rest of it falls into place because they want to come here again and play with him, and him. Yeah, that's all we're looking at here. That's all we're doing here. By the way, ISF understands that you want to do amazing things. You have big visions and goals for the future and work hard to move your agency forward while navigating the unique challenges inherent in government operations. So they get it, and they collaborate with you. And if you don't know what they are, they're an IT strategy firm. 40 years they've served state government and business clients across the country. From right here in Tallahassee, over 1,500 projects all across the nation, 80 unique clients served to perfection time and again. ISF.com. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Donna Adelson is alleging gross misconduct and cruel and unusual punishment by her solitary confinement guards at the Leon County Detention Center. Saying in a court filing, the staff are forcing the 73-year-old to eat with her hands, sleep naked, and are calling her a fancy white lady murderer with no rights. The bombshell allegations are part of a motion filed Tuesday by her attorney. The document requests the court provide the Miami woman house arrest or force the jail to improve her conditions, release her from isolation, and place Donna in a unit where she can prepare for trial and speak to her family. It offers another alternative, asking the court to consider issuing Adelson a psychological evaluation to place her in a different unit. Adelson was arrested last month in connection to the 2014 fatal shooting of her former son-in-law, Dan Markle. The South Florida grandmother's arrest came just a week after her son, Charlie Adelson, was convicted by a jury of conspiring to kill Markle. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Daytime highs approaching 62 this afternoon under partly cloudy skies, winds out of the southeast around 5 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies again tonight, 43. High of 66 tomorrow, cloudy skies. Chance for scattered thunderstorms Saturday and Sunday, 74 Saturday, 68 Sunday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 62.
Did you know metal roofs' survivability far exceeds that of traditional shingle roofs? It's time to consider a metal roof from Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee. We provide the best quality, least expensive material and accessories in the area, as well as material pickup and delivery. Our painted panels qualify for the City of Tallahassee's low-interest Energy Star loan program also. And don't forget about our veteran and law enforcement discount. Give Metal Roofing Sales a call today at 536-9123, 536-9123.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bunk on lechon, Jeff.
Is that what is the pork?
The bunk on lechon, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All of these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is the skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
On the YouTubes, I do believe that is lengthy, and I think it's him, Berninger, interviewing Letterman, which is going to be interesting. So I will let you know because I figured you'd like to. Tom will too. That'll be good. Man, I'm a little kid over here, and I never get this way about recruiting. And I just told everybody not to get this way about recruiting or transfer portal or any of that stuff. But I just saw the picture of Jeremiah Smith wearing those Florida State gloves, Tom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come on, kid. Don't do that to me.
Well, yeah, what did I say about quarterbacks? You definitely got to go get one if you bring in Jeremiah Smith. I say that double talk somewhat facetiously, but if you have Hakeem Williams, Jeremiah Smith as your 1 and 2 in no particular order next season, you can get explosive in a hurry offensively, and there's more weapons than that here at Florida State. But if that's how you start the conversation as a passing offense, this is one of those high school players that is immediate plug and play.
Yeah, he is. Because he's well over 200 pounds. He's a freak. He's for lack of a better term, a big, strong, thick kid as a freshman. You just don't see that very often at that age. And he's pretty, I would say, refined. That's the other part of it. When you watch the route running and you watch the fluidity and you see him in and out of breaks and also the big boy catches and all the things, you're kind of going, well, he's ready-made. You're only going to have him a few years. You know, this is like, yeah. And imagine that, like you said, put him in there with Hakeem.
Yep.
And Vidravius Jacobs and Destin Hill. And then you have a Morlock back next year. I mean, come on. Golly, would that be something?
One of the things about Hakeem, too, is before he got hurt, of course, they were giving him reps, and we were excited about the one touchdown because he puts his foot in the ground, and nobody knew on the beat. Nobody had seen that yet in a practice, that he could go from 0 to 60 like he did. He cared about blocking, too. Like, he's bought in.
Oh, completely bought in.
Yep. With a guy like Johnny leaving for the pros, it is nice to see that Micah, followed by Johnny, have left a culture imprint on the receiver room that now that is just what is expected. So even though they're gone, we're going to continue doing that because it'll be nice for every other prospect that comes into town. They know they got to be that part of the offense because the bubble is a big part of our game too. It's a big part of what we do. And if we don't address the offensive line in a proper way, it's going to need to be a big part of the game next year again.
I'm sorry. I'm just chasing down rumors, Tom. I'm not going to lie to you. I heard every word you said, but while you were saying it, I was chasing down rumors.
I can start from scratch and say it all over again.
No, I don't want you to do that. I was chasing down rumors, and they were good ones. I'm not normally, I don't do this. I don't traffic in this, but I'm just telling you, getting excited about opportunities that Florida State has with multiple players. That's all I'm going to tell you.
I hope they're offensive linemen, because one thing we saw this year is when our base runs don't work, we look lost for a little bit. So I hope some of that is about offensive linemen.
You know, the to your point about the offensive line, and I criticized Alex earlier in the show a little bit. And I also think that is of paramount importance. I agree with you. That part of the season served to be the most intriguing, but if you take a step back, Tom, there's not an offense in the world that if they can't run their base offense successfully, they can't run. And his is born out of the run, the ability to run, to create the extra gap, to do all the things that he's done, even when they had lesser talent. So for me, when you can't do that, yes, we saw Mike swim a little, but I can't think of an offense in the country that if you can't do something fundamental to your core offense, that isn't affected in a negative manner. I just think that's the way it always is. This is why it was frustrating to constantly having to kind of change game plans week to week, like above and beyond what's normal, because you didn't know if you could execute some of the basic stuff that you like to do in the offense. And I really commend Mike, because even with that, now I know this was trending and this is before the Jordan injury, but this offense was trending in the wrong direction. Now, that didn't mean they should have been excluded from the playoffs, period. But this offense was beginning to sputter because they couldn't block it up in the run game. And that got to be more and more frustrating, culminating with the entire first quarter of the North Alabama game, and which led to Jordan taking off because he felt he had to. And this was, really aggravating. And the hope is that, yes, you don't go through another year of that, by the way. That was, so you're going to, I guess, it's just, you're making the resounding point. You better have this offensive line improve by quite a bit from what we just watched this year.
Yeah, because if you project it right now, your starting five is what, left to right, with Bless in the portal.
Well, I think it's – so you think Scott will be back healthy?
Well, no, I'm just saying that this is what they're projecting. I mean, Scott, Washington, Maurice Smith, Keandre, and Byers. And then what are your top reserves? I mean, do you think that Lucas –
Simmons will be your top reserve, and he may be a starter.
And Early would be another option, maybe Otto.
Otto, Early, yep.
Those would be, and Armella, I guess, maybe. I mean, we could have used him this year in the rotation, maybe even if it was even 15, 20 snaps a game, so I don't know that you can count on that. It's just, there are gaps there. It's not that there isn't a lot of potential for that line, but there are gaps there that I hope, if some of these things that make you smile come true, that is 100% something that is going to be addressed.
There's a mix and match, right? You do need superstar game changers who can flip the scoreboard at any second, and certainly one of the rumors is out there is that. And then, the offensive line would be a big part of this offseason. It has to be. I was disappointed there. If you were to ask me what were you most disappointed with this season, it doesn't take but 2 seconds to say offensive line.
The thing is, it could force something that makes you happy. They did pass pro pretty well this season. Maybe you just need to start throwing it 40 times a game, especially if you get Jeremiah Smith.
Spread it out and fire to the rock, baby. Let's go. Well, one thing's for certain, and this is the part about college football, and I guess it's good for us to some extent. The conversation with college football, in particular, the intense focus on Florida State, roster building, roster retention, acquisition, all of this, it doesn't go away very much anymore, Tom. We'll be into January talking about stuff that's, and the next thing you know, you wake up, you're like, it's spring football. They're starting to model the NFL in that way. And, the NFL's year-round. There's not a week during the year when we do this show that we don't come in here and there's not some sort of story that if you wanted to, you could seize upon and talk about on the show.
Yeah, well, one thing is we often talk about the spring game. Maybe it should be a competitive football game. You could take, that's where you cut your check to an FCS program or a lower level program. You're about to get a competitive spring game on December 30th in Miami. That's what you're about to get, is that type of a product. So if you want to see the future for both Georgia and Florida State, and you want to have that spring game feel, except the quarterback is live and they run real special teams, you're going to get one, and it's going to be in a New Year's Six game. And it's going to be more and more of that as we go on if you don't make the college football playoff, especially when it expands to 12.
Fill me in on this. You would think I'd know this. This has nothing to do with Florida State. But, quote, in a deal that could have far-reaching impact on the future landscape of men's professional golf and inject even more uncertainty into an already fractured sport, Masters champion Jon Rahm has agreed to leave the PGA Tour in favor of Saudi Arabian-financed Live Golf League, and that number is allegedly somewhere in the neighborhood of like $500 million. Didn't we just get done hearing that was all going to get incorporated?
Probably so. But if that's the offer at this point, when you have the merger and the backhanded,
it's already happening, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying that when that happened last year, I think Rahm, who is a staunch defender of the PGA Tour, said, "What difference does it make? I might as well just take the lump sum of cash," because that's what Monahan did. And I think that's probably why he changed his mind. I agree. I had heard rumors that it was going to get folded in some way, somehow.
It was already folded in, right? That's been talked about quite a bit. What's the point of them giving out $500 million if it's all going to be folded into one anyhow?
I don't know, but Jon Rahm said, "I don't care what the point is," because I'm saying yes.
Well, I'm going to get my $500 million before we all come together as one anyhow.
Yeah.
That'd be like, wait a minute. You want to do what? This is all coming together anyhow in a year, and you will give me $500 million? Okay. Good Lord. All right, we'll come back, wrap it up momentarily. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Warchant TV.
Your heating and air conditioning system doesn't check with you before it takes a break. That's why we're always ready to help. Any day, anytime, anywhere. And with our annual service agreement, there are no overtime charges. Ever. At Berno Heating and Air, we will always be there for you.
Berno Heating and Air Conditioning.
License CAC 1816186.
The perfect gift under the tree this year is a new spa or hot tub from Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. There's nothing like resting your jolly old soul in the spa after a long, stressful day. And it's the gift that keeps on giving all year long. Heat up your holiday with the end-of-year sale going on now at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. During the month of December, go to our new website, TallahasseeHotSpring.com, and fill out the contact form to receive an instant $1,000 off coupon towards the purchase of a Hot Springs hot tub. Get in touch now before this deal ends. Also, take advantage of up to $6,200 off select High Life models and get a free accessory with the purchase of your new hot spring spa with affordable financing for qualified buyers. Come see Cameron. Visit TallahasseeHotSpring.com or check us out on Facebook or Instagram. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com. Coupon cannot be combined with any other offer. Come see us for the end of year sale. Happy holidays.
Hello, I'm Dana Brooks.
And I'm Jimmy Basic.
Traffic cameras are everywhere, providing valuable evidence if you've been in an accident.
But if you can't access that evidence, it could just be your word against theirs.
Basic Brooks is partnered with Roadproof to have access to all their traffic camera footage. If you've been hurt in an accident, give us a call and we'll find out if the proof you need is out there.
Let us find your video evidence so you can come back stronger. Call us now at 850-777-7777.
Excellence defines us, so we'll never let orthopedic pain and injury define you. TOC is a physician-led team of fellowship-trained specialists, providing the highest level of orthopedic care in the region. With 12 centers of excellence and TOC Now urgent care clinics, our patients access affordable, expert care fast. TOC, only experts. Schedule an appointment at teamtoc.com.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. Get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription just by entering the promo code Warchant30. That's Warchant.
like, be careful, right? But here you go. Earlier today, we all saw where Florida running back Trevor Etienne has decided to transfer from Florida. He has entered the portal. And, from there, you looked and you said, oh, that's interesting. And you went back and you read that article. And then you went, oh, wow, he's one of 14 players from the University of Florida that have entered the portal since it opened on Monday. 14! And that's Wilson and Odom and McClellan and Perkins and AT. Wow. Tough times. Sunbelt Billy, get your hands up.
Hey, LJ McCray, are you sure that you want to play for this roster? Are you sure that? LJ McCray, maybe interested family member, are you sure you want to be associated with the swamp right now?
Tough times. He's just dodging it. That's going to be an ugly press conference. He struggles with those anyhow. He struggles with the right tenor after a win or a loss. He struggles when he's questioned, God forbid. When people are like, well, Coach, that's 5 straight losses. Well, you always have these questions after we lose. Yes, we do. We do have questions after we lose football games. He never could wrap his mind around how it was that people begin to question you when you lose games. That's how it works. When you win them, they ask you how you won them. They want to know, like, how do you keep winning? Man, it's an amazing thing. You keep winning. You're doing all this winning, and it's a fun press conference to have when you get asked a lot about why you're kicking ass. Problem is when you don't, they want to know that too. They really want to know why it is you can't win and that you keep losing over and over and over and over and over again. And he's incredulous. What is all this after the losses that you're asking me about, huh?
I'm just glad that in his career as the head coach of the Florida Gators in the month of December, he's responsible for 3 points. 3. The entirety of his time.
Oh, in the month of December, yeah.
In the month of December. And it was a kick at the buzzer. It was a kick at the buzzer. Good for him. But 3 points in 2 seasons as the Florida Gators head coach in the month of December. And his next press conference in the month of December on signing day will be his first press conference in the month of December this year. Because there's no reason to be meeting with Billy right now.
P. Simpson just nailed it. The Gators got a punter commit. That'll cool the seat off for Billy. Good work, Tom. Good work, Director Matthew. Be well, everybody. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy the football game. We'll be back with you on a Libations Friday. Peace.